Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Nadine Peterson and I'm helping you crush your career. Today I will be talking about 3 things I wish I knew when I had first graduated and was looking for my first ever full-time job. Now, that period was full of disappointment, crappy jobs, and long times of waiting. I managed to time looking for my first job perfectly with the start of the pandemic. So I actually had offers made that later got taken back, which just made the whole process feel even crappier, to be honest. But thinking back on it, realized that I spent a lot of time doing things that didn't necessarily pay off. I remember lots of people telling me, like, when you're looking for your first job, oh, it's just a numbers game. You just have to keep applying, keep applying, keep applying. And while I agree with that to a certain extent, there are things that you can do to make that job search process more successful without causing you to spend so much time and energy and mental and emotional space trying to find that next job. The theme for my 3 pieces of advice for you is specificity. Now, I know if you're looking for your first big full-time job, you might not know exactly what you want to do, but I encourage you to spend some time reflecting on that. And you can do this in 3 different ways. The first way that I want you to start getting more specific with your job search is to customize your resume each and every time. Now, Nadine, that sounds like a nightmare. I hate uploading my resume every time I apply to a job. Why would I spend the time customizing it when it's the same jobs on my resume every time I upload it? Well, here's what I didn't know. People are not reading your resume every time. Robots are reading your resume. Robots are looking for matches between your skill set and the job posting. So if you're not customizing your resume, it is going to get thrown out the window. I'm sorry, that's just the way it works in most companies. And I truly did not realize this until I talked to someone and they were just like, "Oh, but you're optimizing and customizing your resume, right?" And I was just like, no. So to get started with this, what I actually recommend is trying out a tool to kind of see what it looks like. There are quite a few free tools that you can use out there to help you customize your resume to match the job description. What someone recommended to me was jobscan.co, and it worked really well. Basically, what you do is you can upload your resume for free onto their website, and then you upload the job description as well, and then its machines match your resume to the job description and let you know what you can improve and what's not matching. So as you can see, the 3 steps are upload your resume, add the job, and then view results. It's really easy, it's free, and the results actually help me understand how to do this better every time I submit a resume. So, I think the free plan only includes so many scans, but that's actually all I needed, because once I realized how to do the skill for myself, I would just comb through my resume. I would even go so far as to copy and paste phrases from the job description and make sure they were in my resume. Now, the second tip I wish I had known when I was first starting out is that you need to be networking when you're applying to jobs. It is not enough just to be sending in your resume to companies that are receiving hundreds of resumes for the same job every day, probably with lots of other people that might have a little more experience than you if you are a fresh college grad. So what I recommend is going to the companies that you want to work with, going on LinkedIn and looking up people who you have connections with that work at that company. I actually have a full video on how to craft a DM to complete strangers and get an answer back that will help you with this process, which I'll link below. But know that networking is a vital step into getting your job. And what I didn't realize at the time is that most companies, they don't want to spend hours and hours and hours trying to find the perfect candidate. If they can get someone internally to recommend a candidate who will be a great worker, who will fit well with the team dynamics and culture, they would much rather spend their time and energy doing that than shuffling through millions of LinkedIn candidates. Okay, great. What does this mean for you? This means that lots of companies pay their employees for job candidate referrals. So if you find, let's say you're looking for a job at Spotify, you go to Spotify on LinkedIn, oh, you see someone went to your same college and they actually had the same major as you. If you can reach out and connect with them and then ask them to refer you for the position, that employee will get rewarded with a bonus if you end up getting the job. The bonuses can be anywhere from a couple $100s to a couple $1,000. So people generally like to refer you if you have a strong background and matching experiences for the job. There's really nothing they can lose. It's not like they're going to lose $1,000 if you don't get chosen. They will only gain $1,000 if you do. So I really recommend networking, and the second step being asking for a referral from someone, because it will go a very long way. The third thing I wish I had known when I was first applying to jobs is to niche down as much as you can. If you apply to every single job you see just because you think you might have a chance of getting the job, you are going to get so burnt out. So, in addition to customizing your resume every time you send in a job application, networking as much as you can and where it makes sense, the third important thing is to figure out what you actually want from your first position. Now, you might be starting out and it could just be, I want a full-time salary of $60K. Odds are you have a couple other things on your list. I certainly, as I switched industries most recently into tech, one of my biggest items that I wanted in my next job was a fully remote position. So that's kind of how I framed everything else. That was my number one priority. The second being, I want a job that's interesting to me. So once I figured out what my priorities were for my job search, that really helped me use my time more efficiently and target companies and industries that really just fit in with what I was looking for. So for example, I knew I wanted to work remotely. I Googled best companies to work for that have a remote policy. And that's the list I started using, and I started looking for positions there. Something else I did was reach out to friends who I knew had remote jobs, and I asked them what they did. How did they get them? And that actually led me to finding some great resources for getting into the tech and remote job world. So the final thing I would suggest in helping you niche down as much as you can when you're looking for a job is using filters. LinkedIn is going to have filters. Other job search engines are going to have filters as well. In fact, I'm actually going to show you what one of them looks like that I use to get my current position. So when I was looking for a remote job, I reached out to one of my friends who I knew was working remotely, and he said, yeah, you know what? I really ended up focusing on startups because a lot of them I saw had really flexible remote policies. And I actually used this website called angel.co. So I took that advice and ran with it. I created a profile on angel.co, which has mostly tech startup companies that are looking for candidates. They're looking to hire. And when I came here, I went ahead and updated the filter section completely. You can even go so far as to specify a salary, a specific skill, area of interest, kind of job. And then the most attractive part to me here was remote culture. I made sure to have this checked so I would only see and be applying for jobs that were remote first. And that really helped me conserve my energy and apply to jobs that I actually wanted to work for. So there you have it. Those are the 3 things I wish I had known when I had first graduated college and was looking for a job. They all are around using your energy and your time wisely by getting specific, customizing your resume, networking, and niching down as much as you can. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you're subscribed to my channel so you can stay up to date on all the videos and tips and resources I'll be sharing with you on how to crush it at your career, especially if you are a fresh grad or you're switching industries or you're just dipping your toes into the job market. So thanks for tuning in and see you next time.